You land a big opportunity, and your first thought is, they made a mistake. Everyone around you seems so sure of themselves. So why does success make some people feel like a fraud?
What is imposter syndrome?
Okay, so imposter syndrome. Right. Um, so basically your brain decides that success is actually dangerous? Like it treats being in a new role or doing well at something like a threat? And then it just starts scanning constantly for the moment someone figures out you don't belong there. And I don't know, that feels very real to me because what if they do figure it out? What if you say something wrong and suddenly everyone sees it? So you overprepare, right, just in case. Or you go quiet and hope no one looks too closely. Or you agree with everything because disagreeing might draw attention. And every normal moment of not knowing something, which by the way is just learning. That's just what learning is. Your brain goes, ah, see? Proof. Proof you're not safe here. It's not trying to be cruel, it's just trying to protect you. It just gets a little, carried away.
What is imposter syndrome?
Champ, let me break this down. You build a reputation. Smart, capable, competent. People expect that from you now. Then you make one mistake, and suddenly the whole image is at risk. That's what imposter syndrome is. It's the gap between how you look on the outside and what you actually think of yourself on the inside. And that gap is terrifying. Because if people knew the truth, status gone, respect gone. You look at someone else and they seem effortless, no struggle, no doubt, and you think, real professionals don't have this problem, so you push harder, hide the doubt, perform confidence you don't feel. Because the moment you look weak, you lose ground, and losing ground is not an option. That's the trap. Perfection becomes the price of admission, and nobody can pay it forever.
What is imposter syndrome?
Oh, sweetheart, imposter syndrome is really just that feeling of not quite fitting in somewhere, isn't it? You walk into a new job or a new group, maybe you're the only one there who looks like you or comes from where you come from. And suddenly, you're reading every little signal in the room, every glance, every pause. And you start thinking, do these people actually want me here? And the tricky part, dear, is that not knowing things, which is completely normal when you're new anywhere, starts to feel like evidence that you don't belong. We all want to feel like we're part of something, and when that belonging feels uncertain, we interpret everything through that fear. We assume we're being judged far more harshly than we actually are, when, really, most of the time, the people around us are too busy worrying about their own place in the room to be scrutinizing ours.
What is imposter syndrome?
Yes. Well, imposter syndrome is, at its core, a rather consistent pattern of biased self-interpretation. What happens, you see, is that positive outcomes get attributed to external factors, luck, timing, other people's generosity, while negative outcomes are attributed directly to personal deficiency. And then the goalposts for what counts as genuinely earned success keep, shifting. You achieve something, and immediately it doesn't count, because surely anyone could have done that. And there is a rather glaring double standard at work. Your mistakes become character flaws, whereas other people's mistakes are simply, circumstance. So the result is this persistent and rather maddening mismatch between what the evidence actually shows about your performance and what you subjectively feel about your competence. Put simply, you apply one standard to yourself and an entirely different one to everyone else.
How can you overcome imposter syndrome and trust your abilities?
Oh, friend, can we just sit with this for a moment? Because I think the very first thing to understand is that competence is not a destination you arrive at fully formed. It is something you grow into, slowly and beautifully, one experience at a time. So the goal doesn't need to be never being wrong. The goal can just be staying open, learning in front of people instead of hiding until you feel ready. And when something goes well, when you get kind feedback, or you solve something that felt impossible, or you notice a skill in yourself that wasn't there before, let yourself feel that. Actually feel it. Don't just wave it away. Those are real signals, friend. And when a shaky moment comes, because it will, it doesn't define your whole path. Be gentle with yourself the way you would be gentle with someone you love. That kindness is not weakness. That is how trust in yourself actually grows.
How can you overcome imposter syndrome and trust your abilities?
Right. Well, the most straightforward intervention is to collect actual evidence. Keep a simple record, projects completed, problems solved, feedback received, measurable improvements over time. Because when the mind begins constructing a narrative about fraudulence, you need something concrete to counter it with. And then run a basic consistency check. If a colleague had this exact track record, what would you conclude about them? You will almost certainly find you apply far more generous standards to others than to yourself. Additionally, replace vague and shifting criteria. Good enough, truly qualified, really ready, with specific, defined benchmarks appropriate to your actual stage of development. And when uncertainty arises, treat it as information about what to learn next rather than as disqualification. Put simply, replace the feeling with the record and let the record do the talking.
How can you overcome imposter syndrome and trust your abilities?
Sweetheart, please don't try to carry this alone. That is the first thing I want to say. Talk to someone, a colleague, a mentor, someone you trust. Because what you'll almost always find is that others feel exactly the same way and nobody has been saying it out loud. And there is such relief in that, dear, such genuine relief. We heal so much faster in community than we do in silence. And ask for real feedback, not just general reassurance, but the kind that actually helps. What should you keep doing? What could you do differently? Where are you genuinely growing? Build relationships where it is safe to say, I don't know, without feeling like the floor falls away. Because trust in yourself grows so much more steadily when you are surrounded by people who reflect your real value back to you. We are not meant to figure ourselves out alone.
How can you overcome imposter syndrome and trust your abilities?
Oh, baby. Let me tell you what I think is really going on. You have been performing, playing a character you thought the room wanted, nodding along, keeping things polished, never letting anyone see the messy middle. And honey, that is exhausting. And it don't even work because the more you perform, the more you feel like a fraud because none of it is actually you. So here's what I want you to do. Start showing up as a real person. Name what you actually care about. Share the draft before it's perfect. Ask the question that feels too basic. Let people see you learning, not just arriving. Because the moment your word actually sounds like you, your real voice, your real intentions, that fraud feeling starts losing its grip. It ain't got nothing to hold on to when there's no mask left to protect. Your real self is not the liability, sweetheart. The performance was.
My child, there is a particular kind of suffering that comes not from failing, but from succeeding and still not feeling safe. The mind, when it senses high stakes, will sometimes turn against its own evidence. It dismisses what has been built, amplifies every stumble, and demands a standard of certainty that no living thing can ever fully meet. This is not weakness. It is a protection mechanism that has simply overreached. The path back to solid ground is not found in waiting until doubt disappears. Doubt rarely disappears. It quiets. It loosens its grip. But only when it is met with honesty rather than performance, with real connection rather than careful concealment, and with the small, brave act of contributing before you feel completely ready. A tree does not wait until the storm has passed to root itself more deeply. It roots itself because the storm is present. Trust in yourself is built the same way, child. Not in the stillness of certainty, but in the continued choice to grow through uncertainty anyway.
If you made it this far, you're gonna want to see what comes next. Hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video, and click the video on screen now to keep learning more. See you in the next video.